guys! So today I'm going to be doing my Colleen Hoover video talking kind of about all of her books, my favorites, which ones you should start with. Just basically an all-around guide to Colleen Hoover. If you've never read her before and you're interested about her books, this is the video to watch. So I'm going to go through, show you guys all of her books first, and yes. Okay. So Colleen Hoover has 8 books. There is Slam, Point of Retreat, This Girl, Hopeless, Losing Hope, Finding Cinderella, Maybe Someday, and Ugly Love. The biggest Colleen Hoover related question I get is what should I start with? Which book of hers? Because she has 8 books. I don't really know where to start. My recommendation for you is to start with the Slammed series, which is Slammed, Point of Retreat, and This Girl. And this is a trilogy kind of type thing. Or you could even go with Hopeless, Losing Hope, and Finding Cinderella, which they all go together. And then Ugly Love and Maybe Someday are standalones. So I think personally starting with Slammed or Hopeless is your best bet. I wouldn't recommend starting with Ugly Love if you've never read Colleen Hoover before, because I think Slammed and Hopeless kind of have more of a Colleen Hoover feel. To kind of put it on an easier scale, I would recommend you to just read her books as they came out. So like the Slam series, Hopeless, Maybe Someday, and then Ugly Love. I will say, if you're already a fan of new adult, I think you could start with Ugly Love if you wanted to. Ugly Love is kind of her more mature book, so if you're into new adult and you know what you're getting yourself into, I think Ugly Love is a fine choice. But if you kind of maybe are coming from the YA section, because I know a lot of people that only read YA, their new adult is usually just Colleen Hoover. If you're somebody that just reads YA and you don't really ever read new adult, but you want to branch out and you're like, oh, I'll read Colleen Hoover, I think starting with Slammed is your best bet. So now I'm just going to give you guys a short spoiler-free synopsis of the Slammed series, the Hopeless series, Maybe Someday, and then Ugly Love. So I'm just going to get right into that. So starting with Slammed, I'm not going to talk about Point of Retreat and This Girl because obviously you would have to have read Slammed to understand anything that I'm saying. This book follows a 18-year-old girl named Lakin who is a senior in high school and has just recently had a tragedy in her family. Her father passed away. Her mother kind of needs to move away because she can't really support them where they're living in Texas anymore, so she moves them up north. Her brother, and her mom, obviously, they all move, and when they get there, Lakin meets her new neighbor, Will Cooper, who she instantly has an attraction with. Right when they meet, they know that they have this attraction, and they go on a date, and everything's so perfect, and it's lovely. Then a shocking revelation comes into play, and they can't really be together, and they don't know what to do about it, and I'm not going to give away too much because obviously it should be a surprise when you read it what happened, but they don't know what to do anymore because they have this such a strong attraction to each other, but they can't be together. So that kind of follows their story, like Kid and Will and Slammed. So if you're wondering why it's called Slammed, obviously also I should probably say that Will Cooper, her neighbor, is somebody that's really into slam poetry, and this book has a lot of slam poetry in it. So if you're a fan of slam poetry, which I know I am, I'd recommend this book for you to read because it's awesome. And even if you don't like slam poetry or you don't really know what it is, it's spoken word poetry. It's like telling a story, but it's poetry. It's amazing. And so it's a really good book if you want to explore kind of slam poetry as well. I would really recommend it. So yes, the Slammed series. Again, there's Point of Retreat and This Girl as well, but you obviously read Slammed first. So that's what I'm going to say about Slammed. Next, I'm going to be talking about Hopeless, Losing Hope, and there's Finding Cinderella. Hopeless, we follow a girl named Sky who is 17 years old and a senior in high school. All of her life, her mother has been very strict with her. She hasn't let her have a cell phone, use the internet, watch TV, and she's always kind of lived like that, and she was homeschooled her whole life basically. And for her senior year of high school, she finally convinces her mom to let her go to public school for 1 year. Before the summer is over, she runs into somebody named Dean Holder, who she knows to have this pretty bad reputation. He's been rumored to have gone to juvie, and he's like beat people up, and he's just rumored to be this terrible person, but she's kind of attracted to him. She doesn't know what to do. This book kind of just follows Sky's first year of high school, and it follows kind of her relationship with Holder. I'm not going to be saying much about this book just because I feel like you should just go into it not knowing much, but it's a really great book. There's a lot going on, lots of details, lots of craziness happening, so I just want you guys to explore that by yourselves. I don't want to have to tell you everything that happens, but I do really recommend it. It's such a great book. Losing Hope is the second book, but it's just Hopeless retold in Holder's point of view. And then there's Finding Cinderella, which is a novella of 2 secondary characters from Hopeless. So I do recommend all of these books. They're amazing. I love Hopeless. It's my favorite Colleen Hoover book, so I really do recommend it. So this is Losing Hope. This is Hopeless. I do recommend Hopeless a lot, so I think you should read it. Now we've got our first standalone by Colleen Hoover. This is Maybe Someday, one of my favorites. I'm actually rereading it right now, so it's a little bit more fresh in my memory for me to summarize, but it basically follows this girl named Sydney who lives with her best friend in an apartment, and she kind of goes out on her deck every night and listens to one of her neighbors on their balcony play the guitar because she's a big music person. She wants a career in music, and she's just really intrigued by this guy who she's never really talked to. She doesn't really know him, but every night without fail he's out on his deck playing the guitar, so she always goes out and listens. And then one night he kind of writes on a paper and he's like, how are you singing lyrics to songs I've never even put lyrics to? Like, I need your help. You have to help me write lyrics, because he's a musician. He needs her help. So they start texting and she kind of starts helping him, and they kind of become friends, but they've never really met. They just kind of talk across the balconies and text. But then the truth comes out and she finds that her best friend has secretly been hooking up with her boyfriend for their, like, basically the whole time of their relationship. Her boyfriend and her have been together for 2 years, and she doesn't know what to do, so she leaves the apartment. She's like, I can't even deal with this, and Ridge offers her a place to stay. So that kind of is the basis of the story, her going to live with this book. Has a big plot twist within the couple of chapters of reading it, so I'm not going to reveal that obviously, but I love this book. It's great if you're somebody that's into music. It's great if you're just somebody that wants to read a book. This is like one of my favorites by Colleen Hoover. It's so great, and it kind of gave me a new perspective on certain things that I'm not going to talk about because you should just read it. But yes, I do recommend this book. Again, not really a first choice to read, but after maybe reading Slammed and maybe reading Hopeless, this is a good one to pick up. Again, reading in the order that they kind of came out is a good idea. So yes, that is basically what I'm going to say about Maybe Someday. And the last book I will be talking about is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Obviously, I don't think I need to say that. But this book follows a girl named Tate who has just moved in with her brother for a little bit, and her brother has this friend named Miles, and when they meet they don't really get along very well, but they do have an attraction to each other. And you know, Tate is a busy nursing student and Miles isn't a pilot, so he doesn't really have time for anything. He's not interested in finding love. She's not interested in having a relationship because she just is too busy. So they kind of create this no strings attached relationship. When they start this kind of no strings attached, all 100% sexual relationship, there's only 2 rules that Miles wants them to follow. Never ask about my past, and don't expect a future. Yeah, because that's gonna go well, right? This book came out in August. It's obviously her most recent release, and I devoured this thing. I loved it, but I don't think that it's a great book to start out with just because it's kind of more sexualized, and like, Slammed doesn't even have sex scenes, okay? So I think starting out with Slammed is a good way to ease yourself in. I don't think starting with this is necessarily the best idea, but I mean, if you're into new adult and you can handle it, I would go ahead and read it. But it's kind of different from all of Colleen's other books, which is why I would say to read her other ones so you can get more of a taste for her actual style. Because this one's a bit different, but I did really like it. And now I just have to say that I have given all of Colleen's books 5 stars. So if you're gonna ask me what's my favorite, Hopeless is my favorite just because I loved it and I devoured that book and it was so good. But I love all of her books. All of her books are 5 stars to me. So if you're gonna ask me like which ones do you not recommend, I recommend all of them. I think you should read all of Colleen's books. If you're a big new adult fan and you haven't read Colleen, I'm shocked by that because you probably have. So again, read Colleen Hoover's books. They're so great. If you're a young adult reader most of the time and you just kind of want to explore, again, start with Slammed. I think it's a good idea. But yes, I'm gonna stop talking now because I've been talking for way too long. But yes, if you have read any of Colleen's books and you want to let me know what you thought about them, leave that in the comments below. And also leave me comments about which books you're excited to read by Colleen if you are interested in exploring the new adult genre in Colleen Hoover. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any more Colleen Hoover related questions that I kind of missed or I skipped over something or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye!